The applause echoed through the conference hall as the CEO stepped onto the stage with a smile that promised a life-changing announcement. Every employee knew what was coming. For weeks, rumors had spread that the position of Senior Operations Director would finally be filled, and almost everyone believed there was only one person who truly deserved it. Emily Carter had spent the last 3 years becoming the backbone of the company. She had stayed late when everyone else went home, rescued impossible projects from failure, trained new hires without complaint, and even sacrificed birthdays, holidays, and weekends to keep the company moving forward. Whenever clients praised the business, her fingerprints were hidden behind every success. Her co-workers whispered congratulations before the announcement even began. "You already earned it," one colleague smiled. Emily simply nodded, trying to stay humble while her heart raced with hope. She wasn't chasing a title for pride. She believed this promotion would finally prove that hard work, loyalty, and integrity still mattered. As the CEO, Daniel Harrison, picked up the envelope containing the decision, he looked directly toward Emily for a brief second before shifting his gaze away. Something about that tiny moment made her stomach tighten. After careful consideration, Daniel announced, "Our new Senior Operations Director is Ryan Mitchell." The room erupted in polite applause, but the excitement felt forced. Emily couldn't hear the clapping anymore. It was as though every sound had disappeared. Ryan looked stunned before quickly walking to the stage, shaking Daniel's hand with an enormous grin. Emily forced herself to smile while everyone around her secretly exchanged confused glances. Ryan had joined the company only 9 months earlier. He was talented, but even he often admitted that Emily had taught him nearly everything he knew. She had corrected his reports, helped him prepare presentations, and even covered his mistakes when clients became frustrated. Now he was accepting the promotion she had spent years earning. During the celebration that followed, several co-workers quietly approached Emily. "This doesn't make sense," one whispered. "Everyone knows you deserved it." Another simply hugged her before walking away. Emily thanked them with a calm smile, refusing to let tears appear in public. She returned to her desk and stared at the family photo beside her computer. It showed her late father wearing his old mechanic's uniform, smiling proudly beside her on the day she graduated from college. Before he passed away, he had told her, "Never beg anyone to see your worth. The people who truly value you won't need convincing." Those words suddenly echoed louder than the applause from the conference room. That evening, Daniel noticed Emily was still working long after most employees had left. He walked toward her office carrying 2 cups of coffee. "Long day," he said, placing 1 cup on her desk. Emily thanked him politely but continued organizing files. Daniel hesitated before speaking again. "I know today's announcement probably surprised you." Emily looked up, her expression calm but unreadable. "It did." Daniel cleared his throat. "Ryan brings a different perspective that the leadership team felt was necessary right now." Emily nodded slowly. "I understand." Her answer was short, respectful, and completely free of emotion. Daniel expected disappointment, maybe even anger, but her quiet acceptance somehow unsettled him far more. As he walked away, he couldn't shake the feeling that something important had just slipped through his fingers. The following morning, Emily arrived earlier than everyone else. She opened a blank document on her computer and began typing. Every sentence came easier than the last. She wasn't writing another project proposal or another client report. She was writing her resignation letter. 3 years of loyalty fit onto a single page. When she printed it, she felt strangely peaceful. Around lunchtime, she knocked gently on Daniel's office door. "Come in," he called without looking up from his laptop. Emily placed the envelope on his desk. "I've accepted another opportunity," she said softly. Daniel looked up, confused. "Another opportunity?" She nodded. "Today is my notice. I'll stay only long enough to complete the transition professionally." Daniel opened the envelope, and the color slowly drained from his face as he realized it was her resignation. "Emily, you're serious?" She smiled with quiet dignity. "I've given this company everything I had. I don't regret that. But I finally realized something yesterday. Loyalty should never require someone to keep proving their value after it's already been demonstrated." Daniel stood up immediately. "Let's not rush this. We can discuss your future here." Emily shook her head gently. "I waited 3 years for that discussion." She thanked him for every opportunity the company had given her, wished him success, and walked out before he could find the words to stop her. As the office doors closed behind her, Daniel remained frozen with the resignation letter in his hands. For the first time since becoming CEO, the confident executive who always believed every decision was logical suddenly wondered if he had made the biggest mistake of his career. If you're enjoying this emotional journey and want more inspiring stories about resilience, justice, and second chances, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss the next unforgettable story. Daniel barely slept that night. Emily's resignation letter remained on his desk long after every light in the office had been turned off. He replayed the promotion ceremony over and over in his mind, remembering the brief moment their eyes met before he announced Ryan's name. At the time, he had convinced himself it was simply a difficult business decision. Now it felt like the moment he had pushed away the one employee who had quietly carried the company through its hardest years. The next morning he called Ryan into his office. "Tell me honestly," Daniel asked, "who helped you the most since you joined this company?" Ryan looked surprised by the question. "Emily," he answered without hesitation. "Everyone knows that. Half of what I've accomplished came from her guidance. I was shocked when you promoted me instead of her." Daniel leaned back in silence. "Why didn't you say something yesterday?" Ryan lowered his eyes. Would it have changed the decision? Daniel couldn't answer. For the first time in years, the confident CEO found himself questioning his own judgment. Later that afternoon, the board chairman stopped by Daniel's office and asked how Emily had reacted to the promotion. When Daniel admitted she had resigned, the chairman's expression changed immediately. "She resigned," he repeated. "Do you realize how many of our biggest clients specifically ask to work with her? Losing Emily isn't like losing an employee. It's like removing the foundation from a building." Those words hit Daniel harder than any financial report ever could. He immediately asked Human Resources to pause processing her resignation, but they informed him that Emily had already cleared her desk, completed every transition document, and personally trained her replacement before leaving. She had walked away with the same professionalism she had shown every single day for 3 years. There were no angry emails, no dramatic speeches, and no attempt to embarrass anyone. She simply left with her dignity intact. 2 weeks later, the consequences began to appear. A major client requested Emily by name and decided to postpone signing a multi-million-dollar contract after learning she was no longer with the company. Another client followed. Productivity declined as employees struggled to replace the quiet leadership they had always relied upon. Ryan worked harder than ever, but even he admitted during management meetings, Emily used to solve problems before anyone else even noticed they existed. Daniel finally understood something he should have recognized long before. Great employees aren't always the loudest people in the room. Often they're the ones who make everyone else's success look effortless. Determined to make things right, Daniel searched for Emily's new workplace. After several days, he found her leading operations for a fast-growing company across town. Instead of arriving with lawyers or contracts, he walked into the lobby carrying nothing except a sincere apology. Emily was surprised when the receptionist informed her that Daniel Harrison was waiting. She invited him into a meeting room, where he stood awkwardly before speaking. "I didn't come here to pressure you," he said quietly. "I came because I owe you the truth." Emily folded her hands and listened. Daniel admitted that he had chosen Ryan because the board wanted someone with a more aggressive leadership style to impress investors. He had assumed Emily would stay regardless because she had always been loyal. "I took your dedication for granted," he confessed. "I thought you'd always be there. I never realized how much this company depended on you until you were gone." Emily smiled gently, but there was sadness behind her eyes. "That's the problem with taking good people for granted," she replied. "You only discover their value after they've stopped carrying your weight." Daniel nodded. "You're right. I made a terrible mistake." He placed a folder on the table. Inside was an offer unlike anything the company had ever made. It included the executive position she had deserved, complete authority to build her own leadership team, and a salary far beyond her previous compensation. "Please come back," Daniel said sincerely. "Not because the company needs you, although it does. Come back because I finally understand what real leadership looks like." Emily looked at the offer before slowly closing the folder. 3 years ago, I would have accepted this without thinking, she said. But today I'm somewhere I'm respected before being needed. My new team values my ideas, my time, and my effort every single day. That's worth more than any title or paycheck. Daniel's shoulders dropped, but instead of arguing, he smiled sadly. "Then I hope they never make the mistake I did." Emily stood and offered her hand. "I don't regret working for your company. It taught me something important. Never stay where your value has to be constantly proven. The right place will recognize it without being reminded." Daniel shook her hand, thanked her for everything she had done, and walked away carrying the unsigned offer. Although he failed to bring Emily back, the experience changed him forever. Over the following months, he transformed the company's culture, ensuring that hard-working employees were recognized before they felt invisible. Promotions became transparent, loyalty was rewarded, and managers were taught never to confuse silent dedication with endless availability. Emily continued building an extraordinary career in her new company, inspiring young professionals with the same kindness and integrity that had always defined her. Years later, whenever someone asked Daniel Harrison about the biggest lesson of his career, he never mentioned profits or business strategies. He simply said, "The most expensive mistake a leader can make is realizing someone's worth only after they've walked away." And for everyone who heard Emily's story, the message remained unforgettable. Know your value, work with excellence, but never let your loyalty become an excuse for others to overlook your worth. If this story touched your heart and reminded you that respect should always come before recognition, please subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with someone who needs to hear that their hard work truly matters. More inspiring emotional stories are waiting for you in our next video.